Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very first podcast of Help the Guildless. My name is Izette, and I will be the Draco Genius that will be guiding you through the world of Magic the Gathering. Let me start off by telling you a little about myself and why I've chosen to do this podcast. I'm an avid tournament player of Magic the Gathering, and I've played in many FNMs, drafts, and sealed events. I'm a consistent top 8 player, and more so than that, I'm a consistent top 4. I haven't thrown my scales into the ring of professional tournaments yet, but I am working up the courage for it. I'm not a judge as of yet, but I'm working towards it. But I do know more than the common player, and just enough to be a judge. Now, about why I'm doing this podcast. To be honest, I love to help Magic players. Old and new players, it doesn't matter. If you're a tournament player or a homebrew hero, I am always happy to talk about strategies or the newest cards coming out. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this and giving this whole podcast thing a shot. I hope it's a success and that it is what I need that's what I need from you, my listeners. Please, by all means, send any questions, comments, or thoughts about Magic in general. Send them all to facebook.com/helptheguildless and send your friends here too. I need their support as well. So, what do we talk about on this very first podcast? Well, I could discuss the colors and what they mean to players and the game, but I'm sure you've heard that 100 times. Or I could talk about the 10 guilds and why they have become so important to the game itself. But I don't want to overwhelm myself or my listeners right away, so we'll talk about you guys, the players. You guys are my inspiration. All Magic players are. And a few in particular who I won't mention by name, but they are the reason I am the player I am today. A player can make your night or break your night. You can be going undefeated and then have one player who ruins everything because they have a bad attitude. I've seen it happen. It's horrible. I believe that each player impacts the person they are sitting in front of. And you are part of that and part of them in some ways. I have been completely destroyed by Birds of Paradise, but the whole time I was being utterly decimated by a ridiculous Exalted base deck, which is balls, by the way. I was having a great time. My opponent taught me something new, and didn't make me feel like I was a lesser player. He became a huge influence on how I played the game and how I learned to see the cards and read the combos. Now, at the same time, I've gone up against a player who thought she was better than everybody. I was always playing her, and I always ruined my night, no matter if I won or lost. I did win most of the time, but that wasn't the point. She was just a bad sport. I offered her to shake her hand after I won, and she called me out for being an asshole. Those were some of the most nerve-wracking games I have ever played. They also ruined my experience. Her attitude was that she was the best player in the world, and it was beneath her to play me. Look, we've all had these people, and we've all met them. You go to an FNM, you want to have fun, you have a group of people that you hang around, and then there's that group that you don't want to deal with. Inevitably, you end up playing them, and inevitably you either end up losing or beating them bad enough to where they think that you're cheating. It's about respect, okay? And that's the whole issue about that. If you look at most of the pros, they all treat players with respect. And that is imperative in a game where you're sitting directly across from your opponent. There has to be even the slightest amount of respect in order to have this hobby, this game that we have chosen to play, to be any fun. And that is exactly what this is, after all, a game. And I know that I've gotten off on a little bit of a rant, but that is exactly what this hobby is. Something fun to be played and enjoyed. Now, I want to go a little bit more deeper into this. And it's not so much of a continuation of this rant, but a continuation on what you should expect when going to an FNM or a draft or a sealed tournament or even a professional tournament. If you don't respect the person that you're sitting in front of, you're going to give them a bad experience. What if that person is the first time they've played? Now, yeah, they're inevitably going to come with, say, a starter deck, or something that you know that the deck that you've crafted and honed and changed and manipulated 100 times is going to destroy them. Well, now you're set with a decision. Do you ridicule them, or do you help them? And that's the real question. My answer is to help them. Do you want a game where you go and destroy everybody and win all the time, but it's so easy that nothing can stop you? Or are you like most players and enjoy a challenge? This game is about strategy after all, correct? So you create a deck, you hone it, you ask advice on it, you test it, you change it, you buy really expensive cards for it, you sell really expensive cards for it, and you trade cards for it. Do you really want this deck that you've worked so hard for to breeze through without any challenge whatsoever? The short answer to that is yes. Because you want to win. You go to a draft, you go to an F&M, you go to a professional tournament, you want to win. It's that simple. But do you have fun doing it? That's the real question. If you have become the person that just wants to fly through without having anything happen, someone give you a challenge, you've lost the heart of this game. You've lost the core of this game. Because you're no longer playing the game. You're just going through the motions, and that's never fun. So when you're sitting down in front of somebody and it's their first or second time playing, instead of destroying them, make sure they have fun. And afterwards, help them. Help them with their deck. Tell them what you would change. Not that they did it wrong, but there's something that you would change about it. Adding more of a certain type of card, or influencing to a certain way. You want to stick with one win condition, or adding a creature that you think would help them. Inevitably, that will impact their opinion of the game. And Magic is a huge, huge game, and there's so much lore, and there's so much of this expansive universe that we have all become part of. You want to be able to help them. You want them to enjoy it as much as you do. And then the next time, when you meet them a week later, or a month later, and you guys talk about the game you had before, and you're running the same deck, and they're running the same deck, but they've changed it a bit, you get to see them grow. You get to see them become a player, and not just someone who thinks of it as a stupid card game. This is the impact that you have on the people that you sit in front of. This is the impact of the people that you sit next to. You have to respect the game. You have to respect the players. If you don't, you're the one that's not going to be having anybody talk to you, anybody trade with you, or have anything to do with you. You're going to be sitting at your table, and the only person you're going to be talking to is someone you brought with you, or not talking at all. Magic the Gathering is a social game. And with this social game, it's implied that you're going to have to deal with people. Make that impact on them. Make the game fun. Make them love it as much as you do, for you to be able to have to put the time and effort in that you have. Have them want to do it too. I can't stress that enough of how important that is to new players. And even older players. There are different types of people that you're going to meet. And I've said this 100 times. Magic the Gathering brings people together. Old, young, girl, boy, man, woman, relationships, friendships. It all happens around this game because you're with people that you can relate to. Take it upon yourself to introduce yourself to that new player. Take him under your wing. Help him. Which is why I'm doing this. I want to be able to help anybody I can. Which again, I need your guys' help with that. Whoever's listening. Because I need you to send me questions. I need you to send me comments. I need you to send me thoughts, strategy, deck ideas. Send me ideas that you have for another episode. I need your guys' help as much as I want to help you. Like I said, please send them all to facebook.com/helptheguildless. And you will help me as much as I can help you guys. So yes, you guys, you insane hobbyists, you amazing players are the best part about this game and one of my favorite things about it. As I stated before, Magic the Gathering brings people from all walks of life together and can help you make lifelong friends. It's funny how such a simple card game can cause so many problems, but at the same time give you so much joy and present so much happiness. And I leave you guys with that. So this will wrap up the first episode of Help the Guildless. I'm your winged host, Izette, and I wanted to thank you all for listening. Good night, everybody.